Why is John Lewis becoming a UK landlord? The property expert panel members discuss this very point. Check out this video to get all of their insights.
What has changed in the UK property market now that companies like Lloyds Bank and John Lewis have started out as landlords? Now, as far as I'm concerned, they're only doing commercial properties. I wasn't aware that John Lewis was doing residential, but I know that in Oxford Street they're converting their store, but they're not actually proactively investing. I think they're just converting stores, my belief is. But Teresa, what's your thoughts on Paul and Bronwyn?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were basically, large investors in the private rental sector. So probably mopping up all those properties where landlords are now just throwing the towel in. So, yeah, I do believe it's happening.
Wow. Bronwyn?
Yes, it's definitely happening. And I think I think those two announcements have literally been in the last week. I used to work for Lloyds Bank 21 years, and to see them now stepping into this area, what they're looking for is shareholder returns, and they can see that the property market is not only got a lot of demand, but actually they can be getting a good return for shareholder funds. So it's pretty new, I think, for banks. But John Lewis is literally the other day announced that. Now they obviously own commercial property, and they can then use their asset to create a different sort of income, and diversification on the retail high street is what it's all about. So I think these are just, these are two very large organizations. Just, there'll be plenty more, I think, that will venture into this space, because we all know that there's such a high demand for rental at the moment. So,
Paul?
Yeah, I certainly in respect to John Lewis, what they're doing is, instead of them having to sell their commercial premises at a potential loss, they're taking advantage of converting their commercial properties into rental properties, i.e. using permitted development rights. Yeah, that's what professional investors are looking to do at the moment themselves. The other side of the coin is that money in the bank is getting such a pitiful return, less than 1%. So it makes sense for the banks and John Lewis themselves to, let's invest in the property market. I'd have thought some of them will be on the commercial let side, because they're looking at 5% return, which is good for them. Yeah, I'd say, look at your cash returns. If you've got money in the bank, why have we got it there? There's a certain guy called Grant Cardone who said cash is rubbish. So, and I've seen him rip up £50 notes, but he can afford to do that.
Not very sensible. Anyone who's got £50 notes and wants to rip it up, I'll send you my postal address. Just feel free to send it there. If you don't want it, that's fine with me. Simon Hodgson and then Wayne.
I did put my hand up and then I kind of put it back down again. But yeah, it's a really interesting development, isn't it? If you imagine an institution like Lloyds borrows on the international interbanking system, very low rates, and then lends it out. Typically, your buy-to-let, it might lend it out 2% in personal names. Limited company, it might lend it out 4%. Quite often, residential property is only yielding at 4 or 5%, or let's say they're stressing at 125%. So there's a bit of extra, it's not massively extra money they make on it. So I'm very interested in this development, how it might go, and whether more institutional money might well come into the market, because it would then give the government powers to start making smaller landlords or legislate against the smaller landlords. So watching this one with very, very interested eyes, for sure.
Yeah. Wayne, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, well, firstly, I think, as you say, it's a breaking news. It's quite a new development, if you like. Lloyds and John Lewis, and there's going to be Marks and Spencers and the others you would imagine with the big old historic property portfolios in town centres. Those bigger units are not shifting nowadays unless they're developed. They're being redeveloped. We've got a couple in Bournemouth that are being redeveloped at the moment, and they're turning them into exclusive city centre flats. So why wouldn't you do that as the building owner, if you can, rather than sell it to a developer and let them make the profit? Why don't you act as the developer. They've got the expertise in-house, or they can bring it in. And then I doubt very much whether there'll be active property landlords that we would define as a property landlord, i.e. I've been an operational and a non-operational property landlord for national car parks, as an example, and others. It's complicated managing residential lets. I think they'll be developing it, turning it into the units that they want. And then, and here's the key point for new property investors, where something's new, there's an opportunity. This is new. I believe there's an opportunity for people to step into that breach, speak to the likes of Lloyd's, M&S, John Lewis, etc., and say, you want to develop it, fine, we can help you with that, but we can manage the residential letting part of it for you down the line, because they're not going to want to do that. I'd be very surprised if they want to take on that liability and potential damage to the brand.
Please note that we have a couple of events that we think you should register. The first one is the Property Expert Panel, and on that panel member list we have a mortgage broker, a property mentor, a tax advisor, which you would have guessed it is us, the NRLA, LMPG, and a surveyor. So make sure that you ask your property investment and your property development questions to our panel members on the first Monday of every month. The link will be appearing below this video. Make sure you also list for the Property and Business Tax live Q&A with Louise Mishevich and Simon Mishevich, the co-owners of Optimize Accountants. You can ask them any question you would like live on our stream, and that is on the third Monday of every month. Again, the link will be appearing below this video.